Good evening. I believe I can, we're on the record now. I'm Susan Drummond, the City of Pasco hearing examiner. Today is September 11th, 2019, about 6 p.m. We have 6 items on the agenda. 2 are special permits, 4 are rezone proposals. One of those rezone proposals is a proposal to amend a concomitant agreement. For the first rezone proposal, I believe there is a request for continuance on that. Is that correct? This is the AT&T cellular tower proposal, which is first up on the agenda.
That is a continuous, but a special permit, not a rezone.
Right, I'm sorry, for the special permit for the cell tower. And when did the applicant want to continue that to? And if you could state your name for the record.
I'm Jeff Adams, Associate Planner for the City of Pasco. They want to continue it at least till the next hearing.
Okay. And the basis for the requested continuance?
A resubmittal of plans.
Okay. Is the applicant here on that? Okay. And is there anyone here from the public who wished to testify on the proposal or had any comment? Let the record reflect that there was not anyone here who wanted to provide comment on the AT&T. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the first proposal. It's a special permit proposal for a cell tower that's proposed by AT&T. No, okay. So let the record reflect there is not anyone here who wishes to provide testimony on the proposal. So I believe that good cause has been shown, and I will grant the continuance. We will continue the hearing do we want to go ahead and set the date now, or will that be set later?
Let's go ahead and set it later.
Okay. All right. Presumably it'll be later in the fall, October, November, perhaps. But okay. So that concludes that matter. Next up, we have a special permit, and then that's followed by the 4 rezone proposals. The special permit is for the Explore and Learn preschool expansion. The order of procedure on this permit, as well as the 4 rezone proposals, will be as follows. We'll have a summary of the proposal from the planning department. The applicant will then have an opportunity to present, and then we'll open this up for public comment, and anyone who is here who wishes to testify on the particular proposal may do so, and the applicant will have an opportunity to address questions and comments which come up. And I may have questions throughout the proceeding. So I think with that, if we wanted to go ahead and have staff provide a brief summary. And I did do a site visit today of all the sites that are before me this evening, and I have reviewed the staff materials that were submitted for this proposal and the others that we're hearing tonight.
So applicant has an existing daycare facility, and the request is to expand it by 1,972 square feet. So basically half again as large as it is. They also want to add 4 additional staff and 40 children. So that would give a total of 12 employees and 92 children. Probably our main concern here is parking. They would have to have at least 27 parking spaces in order to accommodate the employees and the children for this daycare. Other than that, it's pretty cut and dry.
And it looks like SEPA was issued on that. No appeal was filed.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything further? Nope.
That's it.
Okay. Is the applicant here for this proposal? Okay. Let that record reflect the applicant is not here. Is there anyone here who wishes to testify on this proposal? Let the record reflect that there is not anyone here who wishes to provide testimony this evening. I did not have any particular questions on this. This did seem fairly straightforward to me. I didn't have a copy of the application. I'm wondering if I could get a copy of that, though. That might be, I have the staff report, but not the underlying application. But I didn't have any specific questions. I think it would just be helpful to have that in conjunction with completing my review of this. So a decision on this will be out within 10 business days, and then I will email that to the planning department. And a copy will be provided of the decision to the applicant and to anyone else who requests a copy of that. Are there any further questions from staff on that particular proposal? Shall we move to the next one?
No, for everybody's information, the application is actually online in our tracking system. So if you want to pull that off our online system, you can.
Okay. So let's move to the next proposal, which is a rezone proposal from RS20 to RS12. This is a proposal from the Franklin County Irrigation District number 1. I believe that I have the staff report, and I did do it, like I mentioned earlier, a site visit earlier today. I believe 2 additional comments have come in on this, one from Ms. McGow and one from the Clarks. Okay, we'll accept, once we get to public comment, I'll go ahead and accept that then. Did you want to provide a brief summary of this? And as I mentioned, I've reviewed the staff report on this proposal.
Sure. Applicant, who is the Franklin County Irrigation District, owns a piece of property on the river. It's the location of their pumping station, and there's also a residence on site. It's a 2-acre lot, and they want to subdivide it in order to sell off part of it that they don't need. In order to do that and use some of the revenues to improve their system a little bit, they'd like to rezone it to a higher density, so they can divide it into 3 residential lots. One of the reasons why the city might be in favor of this is because we've been revising our comprehensive plan, and due to pressures from various and sundry organizations in the state, and including the state itself, we have been contemplating a smaller urban growth area than we had previously counted on using our current densities. And so we're looking at increasing our densities citywide, and so this would be an example of increasing density for urban growth area compliance. So other than that, I think that, oh, and I do have, we made one error in the report. Under number 6, it says an environmental determination will be made after the public hearing. That determination has already been made. Okay. And we issued a determination of non-significance on August 19th, 2019. That's in the report.
Okay. And that was not appealed?
No.
Okay. Anything further?
Not from staff.
Okay. Is the applicant here? Did you wish to step forward, sir? If you could state your name for the record.
John Burns.
And you swear to tell the truth under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of Washington?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Did you have anything you wish to add?
The only thing that I might add is we originally had this short plat permit submitted for the 3 lots on this property, and one of our customers approached me and said, kind of explained some other things and asked why we didn't go to more lots on a smaller basis, and that's what prompted the public hearing for this rezoning charge. The intent of the district, if we do get the RS12, is to maintain a 70-foot wide strip down through the middle of that, which would cover our pipeline coming up off the river.
Is that an easement, or it's where the pipeline currently exists?
Yeah, it's where it's at, and all this property, like I said, belongs to the district, or it belongs to the district. It's the original district's office and shop facility at one time, so, excuse me.
So it would be continued to use for that specific, right? And then I think this, with the rezone, it would allow 1 additional lot. Is that what the intent is with it?
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions or anything?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, we'll open up for public comment. Is there anyone here who wishes to provide testimony on the proposal? I understand there's a gentleman who wished to provide a comment. I can go ahead and accept that.
There's 2 ways we can do this. I can speak it or I've written it down.
So it would probably be easier to just go ahead and submit it to me, and that way we have it in the record. I have the complete copy of everything. Yeah, if you could step forward and do you just have the one copy?
Yeah.
Okay,
I have
that's
copies of, it was an email sent to Darcy.
right. That's a planner with the planning department, so she has a copy as well. Then,
My opinions, and hopefully.
if you could step to the microphone just so we capture everything.
Should I read it then?
Nope, I've got it. So I'll review it in total. But if you wanted to add anything, now's your up.
No,
Just-
that, people need to respond to that first, I think.
Okay.
If there's anything that continues beyond that, then fine.
Okay.
I can argue.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that is admitted along with the two other comments that I have received on this proposal. Is there anyone else here who wishes to provide comment on the proposal? Yes.
I am a homeowner.
If you could state your name for the record.
Kathleen Mago, M-E-G-O-W. You have received my email. I am opposed to this.
And let me swear you in. You swear to tell the truth under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of Washington?
Yes,
Thank you. And it looks like I do have your comment here from Ms. Mago.
yes. I have a question.
Mhm.
Is Franklin County or the state going to do an engineered landfill of this property so that it can be sold?
An engineered landfill.
Yeah, there's a big dip in the property.
Oh, you mean in terms of grading?
Mhm.
There are grading requirements that would apply to the site. So there are code provisions, and the applicant could probably provide more detail on that.
Right. So there's going to be more traffic in this area?
It would, well, my understanding of the proposal and given the size of the lot, and again, I'm not providing testimony or anything, but this is just from material in the staff report. My understanding is that this is intended to allow one additional lot. So I think right now it could be divided to be two. And so with the proposal, the intent would be to go to three is my understanding. If I'm incorrect on that, staff or the applicant can correct me, but.
So I'm on record. Basically, we oppose this. We live in this area. We've lived in this area since, homeowners since 1979. And we would like to see, at the very least, kept as it is or made into a park for this area. There are very, very, very few lots on the river. And of course, this would be prime. And the first thing is going to be snapped up. A great big house is going to be built. Trees are going to be built. And all the people who enjoy that stretch of river, that will all be lost to them. So I wish you would take this into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to provide testimony on the proposal? Let the record reflect that there is not anyone else who wishes to provide comment. Is there anything further from the planning department on this?
No.
Okay. And did the applicant have anything further? Nope. Okay. So I issue only a recommendation on this. City Council makes the final decision. And the recommendation will be out within 10 business days, and then it will go to the City Council. The planning department will provide a copy of the recommendation to the applicant, and then anyone else who requests a copy would like to receive that. Okay, so we will now move to the next item on the agenda. This is another rezone. It's from RS20 to RS1. The applicant is the Story Family 5 LLC. And I have reviewed, as with the other proposals, the staff report on this and visited the site earlier today. Do you want to briefly summarize the proposal?
Sure. Just to avoid confusion, there are actually two applications here for the Story family. This is the Story family on Court Street. This is a location where Court Street converges with Road 84. The other one is on Sylvester Street, just at the west end of Wade Park and north of Court Street. So with this proposal, the applicant wants to rezone the property from, as you've stated, from RS20 to RS1. That would allow for 10,000 square foot lot sizes. There's our only real concern here is that there's a floodplain that intersects the property on along the south side. And that would have to be mitigated with floodplain development standards. Other than that,
That would be through the building permit process.
right. Other than that, we can answer questions if you have any.
Okay. Was SEPA done on this?
Yes, and this is another one where we misstated we left a line in, basically. We cut and pasted some stuff, and we left a line in that should have been deleted that says that the environmental determination would be made after the hearing. The determination was actually made on August 15th,
Okay.
a determination of non-significance.
Okay, and that was not appealed.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. It looks like I have received another comment since the staff report was issued from Floyd Devlinov, and I may be mispronouncing that last name.
Yeah, this is for the other one. This is for the one on Sylvester Street.
This particular comment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is the last item on the agenda, item F.
Okay. Okay, so that's for all right, that's for the second one then. Okay, the next
Right.
one. Okay. Okay. Anything further?
No.
Is the applicant here? Good evening. Could you state your name for the record?
Caleb Stromstead.
You swear to tell the truth under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of Washington?
I do.
Thank you.
Representing an applicant for this rezone application and the other one. We're just in favor of it and are available to answer any questions if they come up.
Okay. I do not have any specific questions at this time.
Okay, thanks.
Is there anyone here from the public who wishes to testify on the proposal? Let the record reflect that there is not anyone here who wished to provide testimony. Is there anything further from the planning department on this?
No.
Okay. So this is a rezone. I issue a recommendation. The city council makes the final decision. Recommendation will be out within 10 business days. I will email that to the planning department, and they will provide that to the applicant and anyone else who requests a copy. So now we will move on to the next agenda item. I believe this is the request to amend a concomitant agreement, agenda item E. This is proposed by Yesmar Properties LLC. Mr. Adams, did you wish to provide a summary of the proposal?
Applicant built a two-building development on this site. It's at the corner of Road 84 and Chapel Hill Boulevard. The development that was built was approved by the city in error. There are a few things about it that are not compatible with the C1 zoning that it was originally and with the C3 zoning with the concomitant agreement. There's still some things that are amiss, as well as there's a I-182 corridor overlay,
Right.
which has certain development standards that apply to this area. And it also doesn't comply with those standards. Applicant has gone through the rezone process to go from C1 to C3 with a concomitant agreement. Basically what it was is C1 plus breweries. That was the reason for the rezone. Applicant asked for a few other things than we recommended against it due to the nature of the residential neighborhood surrounding. And of course the I-182 overlay so applicant has come back for another rezone application. wishing to add some of those C3 zone uses, and staff has recommended against it. That's basically our report.
Okay. And DNS was issued, it looks like, based on the staff report. No appeal was filed on that.
No.
Okay. Is the applicant here? Would you like to step forward, sir? If you could state your name for the record.
John Ramsey?
And you swear to tell the truth under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of Washington?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there anything that you wanted to add?
Well, the only thing I can add, I own the dealership just down the road from it, Broadmoor RV. And when I built the site, we knew what we wanted to do. We submitted to the city. They approved the buildings. I spent $2 million putting the buildings up for what we were trying to do. We were going to get it and then submit the rezone, and now we put loading docks in, it's a good site. It looks good. It needs it. That area needs that kind of stuff. We've got a microbrewery going in. We've got a hair salon going in. We've got a gym, and now we've got an axe throwing business that's going to go in. But we need some. And I don't understand the car. They tell us we can't park any cars on the outside of it. There's cars all over the West Pasco that are parked out. The banks have cars. There's driving schools that have cars out overnight, and they're all in the so-called I-82 corridor. I've been in business for 20 years in that location, and I would like Rob Ellsworth to talk about it. And he's my broker, and he knows a little bit more about what we've been going through as far as the city planners. Okay? Do you have any questions of me?
Not at this time.
Okay, very good.
Thank
you.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to provide testimony on this proposal? Can you state your name for the record?
Rob Ellsworth.
And you swear to tell the truth under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of Washington?
Absolutely.
And can you spell your last name for me?
ELLSWORTH.
Thank you.
This might get a little long-winded, but we've kind of had a long history on this. And if it's okay when we're done, if I can email you this so you have it for your records, and when you go back and do
Your comment, you mean?
Yeah.
So what I'll have
I
you
don't
do
have a
is.
hard copy I can leave you.
That's fine. If
Okay.
you can either leave me a copy, or you can, we can arrange, you can email it to the planning department, and they
Perfect.
can provide a copy. Either way is
Okay.
okay.
So kind of the history of this request is we initially applied for rezoning from C1 to,
So you're with the applicant. You're not.
Yes.
Okay.
yep.
Understand. Okay.
Originally applied for rezoning from C1 to a modified version of C3 in March of 2019. The Planning Commission at that time approved the rezone in April. Myself and Gary Hall, the engineer, met with Rick White on April 24th to discuss what the concomitant zoning agreement would look like, what items we were happy to exclude, and in C3, the few items we were asking to have included. In C3 zoning, there's 14 uses listed. We were only asking for 3. If you fast forward that, when the staff put together what the concomitant zoning agreement was going to look like for the Planning Commission to look at, we didn't ever have any input or anything or any other discussion on that until May 13th, when Gary once again asked, hey, has this agreement been put together yet? And then that's when we were provided with it. And on May 16th, it went to the commission for the final approval and then on to city council. At that time, it excluded a lot of things we were asking for. And so we were told to make the process work forward so we could get the brewery approved and the gym approved that were already in process as far as new tenants. We needed to let it go through, let it get approved, and then we could amend that agreement or apply to amend the agreement. And that was on May 16th. We'd asked for how to do that later in May, had not had any response until July, when once again we asked again, how do we do this? And we were told you need to rezone it. And then there's just most recently this staff recommendation that you have, again, wasn't provided to the owner or anybody involved until we asked for it again. I'm just giving you a background on some of this stuff so you can see what the process has been like. Some issues we think the city needs to consider on this is the city approved and acknowledges that they approved both the type of buildings, the type of construction, the site development, things like the overhead doors, the loading docks, as has been built by the owner. In their report on
So everything constructed on there has been approved?
Yes.
So-
The city in the report you have on page 3 says that it now says that was an error. On page 6, it says they inadvertently approved. Page 6, paragraph 11. I only point those things out to say it may look like an error. It may have been done inadvertently when they look back on it now, but it was done. John Ramsey spent over $2 million to develop this site.
So are you all seeking the rezone in order to, for new construction or new buildings, or simply to?
So we've had requests from a number of companies that would come lease space that would be used in these types of buildings that we can't lease to them because of the zoning. And as part of the
So it's to expand the purpose is to expand the use for the currently existing.
Yeah. So we have, the site now has 2 buildings on it. It's got tentative area for a third. We're renting the spaces currently, but the available spaces we have and the type of buildings we have, to some of the more warehouse type uses of what that type of building is meant for, we can't rent to a tenant that would use them for that purpose because of the zoning. And those are the only things we're asking to have added back in. Some of the objections we have to the report, on page 3, paragraph 8, or page 3, and then in page 8, paragraph 17, there's reference to staff recommending limited warehouse uses. And then it adds in there small scale wholesale, retail, and sales distribution. They limited the warehouse uses strictly to recreational and indoor facilities. There's no mention of any wholesale, retail, sales, and distribution ability in the concomitant agreement. The loading area standards with the loading dock, that was approved. The owner paid extra to have the loading dock put in. There's also mention in page 9, paragraph 20C, that no loading dock or receiving dock shall be accessed directly from a public street. That's not accessed directly from the public street. You have to go in through the driveway where there's ample turnaround and area to access and utilize those docks with not making any interference with any traffic. And then, as John just mentioned, the storage of business vehicles on the exterior is not something that shows up anywhere in the zoning of C1, C2, or C3, but it was added to the concomitant agreement. And we have a problem with that because, as John said, you can drive through any commercial area in Pasco and see pizza delivery trucks, parking, school vehicles, bank vehicles, furniture vans, that kind of thing. It just doesn't fit with the type of use that we need to have here. To wrap this up, because I'm sure you never thought that was going to happen, the city approval of the buildings happened. The owner needs the flexibility to use the buildings as they were intended. These are still buildings with 20-foot eaves, overhead doors, and a dock pit. And as current, we can't utilize those to their fullest extent. There is a massive need, I can tell you as a broker, for this type of property and these options in West Pasco, with the amount of residential construction going on in the area and that will be going on for years. These buildings, we've already had multiple contractors, HVAC contractors, insulation people that could utilize these spaces that we've had to turn away because we can't accommodate them because of the zoning. And lastly, I want to mention, just as John Ramsey, who's kind of gone through this and kind of getting the short end of the stick here on a property that was approved and everything that he spent the money to do, he's not a property owner or developer who's constantly at the city raising problems, stirring up issues with the city. He's just trying to build a building here that he can rent out to add to his portfolio. He's a local business owner that's built a very successful business in Pasco. He's remained loyal to growing his business in Pasco. His business likely pays the top three of sales tax to the city of Pasco. And along with this, he willingly gave away a portion of this land to the city of Pasco, I believe at no cost, to accommodate a roundabout at Road 84 in Chapel Hill. So we're just asking to get another look at this, maybe a little higher level of service for someone that does so much for the city of Pasco.
You said the property is partially rented out right now. What types of uses currently?
We have the microbrewery that we worked on earlier. We have a salon, and then we also have a gym / indoor training facility. And then we're close to wrapping up a lease right now that's not completed, but with an indoor event center that would be primarily the focus would be axe throwing.
Okay.
Strictly inside the unit. We won't throw axes outside.
Right. Yeah. So is it like half rented out at this point, or?
We're exactly half rented out now. With the axe throwing, we'd probably be at about 60 to 70% rented.
Okay.
The issue going forward is the remaining space we currently have, and then the plans to build one more of these buildings to the
So you
east.
do have some plans for
There's
future.
there's more land on the east end of this property that we haven't utilized, and so the plan is to build a third one of these buildings. And going forward for, small scale distribution, contractor use, indoor storage, that kind of thing, that's the use we're looking for.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Did you want to provide the written comments now, or?
I'll email it to you because I scribbled a bunch of notes on it.
Okay,
Where
so
do
if you
want me
can
to
provide
email
that to the planning department, we'll keep the record open for a day or two, that you can provide that to planning department, and then they'll forward it on.
Do I
me.
send it to anybody in particular, or is there a generic email?
What would be your all's preference for that to Ms. Bercier?
You can send it to Ms. Bercier or me.
Okay. Okay. Any questions?
Not at this time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here from the public who wish to provide testimony? Let the record reflect that there is not anyone here who wished to provide testimony on this proposal. So why don't we keep this open through Friday? And then that way you can provide the written comment, and if there's anything else that staff wanted to add on this. Oh, and if I can get a copy of the application on this as well, that would be useful. And in fact, a copy of the application for all of these, we might as well just pull them all for all of the proposals before me, I think would be helpful. I think that's it. Anything else from staff on this one? Okay. All right, so we will move to the last item on the agenda. This is the Story Family 5 rezone proposal 2019-010. Rezone from RS20 to RS1, and this is the other piece of the project we discussed earlier, and this is the one that I believe I have the comment on.
Yes.
That is from Floyd Devilleneuve, and I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly.
Right. Okay, this again is from the Story family, different property, same kind of request, rezoning from RS20 to RS1. This is a 6.5 acre piece of land. And as you can see on the map there, it is just to the west of the west entrance of Wade Park and then north of Court Street. The parcel was previously included that building to the southeast, but that was subdivided out. There is a derelict building on site, a single family home. It's been boarded up. And again, the city needs to increase density a little bit in the city, so this would support that objective.
Serve that objective.
And that's all we've got.
Okay. Clifford and Seaboat.
I'm sorry, I got
was
one more
that,
thing. Again, the DNS on this has been made, and it was submitted August 19, 2019. So there's one line in the report that's in error.
Yeah. And no appeal on that.
None.
Okay. Is the applicant here? Or is it, did you? Well, why don't you step up anyway? Let's just see. If you could state your name again for the record.
Caleb Stromstead?
And you swear to tell the truth under penalty of perjury and the laws of the state of Washington?
Yes.
Thank you. You had an opportunity to look at the staff report and you don't have anything to add at this time?
Nope, no questions.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here from the public who wishes to testify on the proposal? Let the record reflect that there is not anyone here who wishes to provide comment on this proposal. Anything further from staff on this?
No.
Okay. This, as on the other rezones, a recommendation will be out on this within 10 business days. The final decision is made by the city council. And a copy of my recommendation will be provided to the applicant and anyone else who requests a copy of that. I think that is all. Is there anything else from staff that we need to address tonight? Nope. Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you all.